What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Aiden's World of Sports with another episode. I have one of the best 2023 baseball prospects, ranked number 2 in the country. But I'm not going to do the introduction. Take it away. Introduce yourself.
How are y'all doing? My name is Walker Jenkins. I'm a 2023 North Carolina commit.
And so I'm going to go right into, you kind of touched on your commitment. You're committed to North Carolina. Sure, it says it all. I mean, I'm kind of matching the colors a little bit. But you committed, I think it was last year. It was end of last year, beginning of last season, I'm pretty sure. And
it was right after my freshman high school season. So about 2 summers ago now.
Yeah. So, wow. So, long time ago, and that's an early commitment for a lot of athletes, but talk about what stood out at UNC from all these other schools, because you were a very highly touted prospect and a lot of colleges wanted you, and you found a home at UNC. So what stood out?
I really just I fell in love with the coaching staff. Obviously you had Mike Fox there when I committed, but I talked to Coach Forbes a lot. He is now the new head coach there, and he was the assistant coach. But I formed a great relationship with him. Talked to him for 5-6 months. Felt kind of like a family type of a feel for me, and that made me feel very comfortable. And really, it just that's the main thing that made me want to go there. Then obviously just the history of Carolina's baseball program. I mean, have one of the best overall records all time. Just a great, solid program. The facilities are amazing, and it's a great school. My family's always been big on academics and things like that, and I wanted to go to a school where not only could I go to a great baseball program, but also go to a school where I could get a great college education. So that had a big factor in where I went. And it's always kind of been my dream school. So, I mean, my mom went there and definitely influenced me a little bit, but I grew up kind of watching the Tar Heels. I mean, from North Carolina, it's not too far away, a couple hours. Gone and watched some games, and just it always kind of been like that school I wanted to go to as a kid, and that never really changed as I got older. So
That's awesome. And it's a great story. And especially, a lot of people commit to some schools and it's more for the sports. And I love that, you're also thinking about the education involved in that. And so here's something that might have a little impact on what's going to happen in the next year. The MLB draft, we're heading into the time for this year's MLB draft, but next year, this time, you're going to be one of the top names on a lot of teams' boards. And have you started thinking about, any decisions, and, have you started at least talking about it with, your family, thinking about it with yourself, and, what are you going to do when that time comes, if your name gets taken off that board?
well, I mean, we look at it as what's best for me. I mean, I'm not going to want to go if, say, hypothetically, I get drafted in the 20th round. I'll probably won't get to the major leagues as quick, in which that is the ultimate goal, is to eventually make it to the major leagues and have a long, outstanding career. But I mean, that's going to be a very difficult choice. And of course, we've talked about it some, and we've talked through different things. But it's really when the time comes, we're gonna decide on base what I think myself needs the most, my family, my parents, and a lot of the different people that have helped me get to where I am. I mean, it's hard to pass up a college education. I mean, that's something that you're never going to lose once you have. I mean, it's hard to pass that up. But I mean, if the right opportunity presents itself, obviously you can't pass up on the draft. So I mean, it's going to be one of those things. A lot of people say, I mean, it's not a long process. Once draft day comes, it's a few minutes, and you have to make a life impacting decision. And I don't know. Obviously, right now I'm leaning more towards college, but you never know. I mean, it's hard to say no whenever you're one of the top names called on the board. I mean, it just is how it is. But obviously, right now I'm leaning towards going to Carolina and getting my college education and playing 3 years there. So, but like you said, it's going to be a hard decision. It's going to be something I'm going to have to think about and then have to make a very difficult decision on. But who knows? I mean, you can't really say what you're going to do right now because so many things can happen. So many things can change in the next year. But it's hard to not lean towards Carolina right now. So
That's awesome. And I love that personally. I know I've never really talked to someone who has thought the same way. I see so many people and hear so many people saying, all right, well, if I'm getting drafted, it's been my dream to go to the big leagues. I'm going to take that offer. So it's great to hear that, a lot of people still have that value and, getting that education and especially because you never know what happens, having a good plan and a backup in case, God forbid, something does happen. It's awesome to,
that's exactly right. And like I said, obviously, I mean, if I'm going to go 1-1, you're more than likely not going to turn that down. But it's things like, I don't know. Like you said, it's just going to be such a difficult decision. I mean, I hate to put it this way, but it's kind of like when you're getting drafted, you're kind of betting on yourself and the amount of money you're going to get right out of there, but then also how fast you're going to make it to the major leagues. Like I said, my ultimate goal is to ultimately make it to the major leagues as fast as I can so I can do what I love. And if I can go to college for 3 years and get drafted and then only play in the minor leagues for 1, and then I get called up and instead of getting drafted out of high school, playing for 5 or 6 years in the minor leagues and then getting called up, I'm going to want to take the college route. So it's really, I mean, but if I get drafted out of high school and I get called up in 2 years, then that's the route I'm going to want to take. But that's something you don't know. You know what I'm saying? So that's what makes it such a hard decision.
definitely. And so you're diving into these decisions and mental processes. Let's talk a little bit about mental processes in the game of baseball and less about decision making because there's still a lot of time left for that decision to be made. Talk about how you channel your confidence.
I don't know. It's one of those things you try to lead with your emotions. Obviously, everyone fails in baseball. Baseball is a failing sport. And you have to remind everyone and remind yourself, like, hey, like you can't let your emotions get the best of you. You have to go out there and still try to keep that confidence. But you always got to remind yourself and kind of you don't want to be cocky, but you always got to remind yourself, like, hey, I'm the best player on this field right now. I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna do my thing and then lead your team. You want everyone else to think that as well. Now that's the type of mindset that a winning team typically has. So I mean, I remind my teammates like, hey, you're better than this guy. Go up there. You can beat him. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like you try to make it to where everyone kind of has the same mindset as me and has the same type of confidence because confidence is key. Without confidence, you can't succeed. So I try to push that confidence on everybody.
That's awesome. And talk a little bit more about your team. You guys you very good team. I've seen some of the records, some highlights and of your games, and it looks like you're very close with those guys. And talk about how you guys bond on and off the field, and what's that like?
Well, I mean, you have a lot of kids that you're referring to high school, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah, we have a lot of kids that a lot of top ball players that will transfer to a bunch of bigger schools and go play with a bunch of kids they don't know. But all these boys down here, I've just grown up around. I mean, we actually you have like the Little League World Series, and you have like Dixie Youth and Cal Ripken and all that stuff. And a bunch of the kids on my high school team now I played Dixie Youth ball with, just kind of the rec league growing up. And we actually won 2 state championships with them. And so it's kind of been a thing where we've all loved baseball, even from a young age. And going up, and this year we've had a very good season. We are just great friends with each other, and I think that helps so much. And just knowing each other very well. Having played with everyone for so long, the strengths and weaknesses and just different things like that may give us a little bit of an advantage over some other teams. And but you're right. The friendships and how having known some of these guys so long in this team has definitely helped us.
yeah. And so there's a few more things I just want to touch up on. Talk about what it's like for you behind the scenes. People don't really see the training that goes into it, but what's a day in the life where you don't have a game or a practice? Like, what are you doing to, improve your game? What's training schedule?
Well, I'm definitely going to hit. I hit every day, whether we have a game, practice, no matter what. Me and my dad, we have a little cage down here by our house that we'll go to, and I'll hit 3-ish buckets approximately, and I'll do some tee work, some soft toss, front toss, then have him pitch to me a little bit. And sometimes we'll go down to the high school facility and hit some off the curveball machine as well when we're up there. But I'm going to hit every day. On a day where I don't have practice or a game, I'm either going to try to get some lifting in or I'm going to run. And then eating. On days where I don't have games, or even do have games, I try to eat a lot. Try to get a bunch of calories in, get protein and different things like that. Because once you get in season, playing all the time, it's hard to keep your weight and size. And so one thing I stress is eating and drinking a lot. And then I also stretch. I try to stretch every day, stay loose. Stretching is one of the biggest things to staying healthy. So that's something I try to add in every day. Then say if a normal day, I'm gonna get up, eat, and then I'm probably gonna go hit with my dad. And I'll probably eat again for like lunch. Then I'll either lift or run. And then say I may have a snack. Then I may just hang out with some friends. Then I'll eat dinner. Then I'll probably stretch around night. And then sometimes, depending on how sore I am, I may take like an ice bath or an Epsom salt bath, different things like that. And then I'll try to get a good night's sleep. So body recovery is definitely one of the biggest things I focus on days where I don't have games, making sure I'm just staying healthy and feeling good for the next game.
Yeah, important, and definitely it keeps you healthy. And have you dealt with any injuries that that have kind of had you somewhat stray off from that routine at all, or or something that happened that made you really get into that routine and stay fixed to that?
Well, I had hip surgery this past October, and it's one of those things. It's just unfortunate. It's the way I built. I had an impingement with my hips. It's where my like I don't even know what it's called, but my hips are rotated just slightly forward, and so the ball didn't fit correctly into the socket. So I had to go down and shave the bone and then repair the labrum, which is the tendon that outlines the socket. And it's one of those things. I didn't do anything in particular or anything wrong, but it's just the way I'm built. And so I was down for around 2.5, 3 months. And that's hard. It's hard not being able to do what you love and do that routine. But like you were saying, that's been my routine for years now. Maybe not all the stretching and eating as much, but definitely I still, years ago, I hit every day. And starting a few years ago, I started lifting hard and heavy and a lot. But yeah, the hip surgery's tough. I mean, it changes your life so dramatically, and it's something you just have to, you have to push through instead of hitting every day and lifting every day to make yourself better. It's really just it's doing your stretches, doing your PT, doing the things you're supposed to do, and that's kind of the way I looked at it. Is like, this is making myself better. I'm going to come back better because of this. So
that's awesome. And a lot of some guys somehow never get injured, and I don't know how, honestly. But
yeah, me.
I'm injured right now. I can't throw. I have like tendonitis. I haven't been able to throw for a month, and it sucks. But
Yeah.
But definitely having a good routine, being healthy is very important. So now those are really my, I have serious questions for everyone. And then I have 3 hypotheticals I ask everyone, no matter what sport.
Let's hear it.
Your name gets called on draft night, whether it's 1-1 or whether it's the last pick in the 20th round. What team do you want to get drafted to right now?
It's hard not to go with the Braves. It's hard. That's the team I grew up. I mean, and being in North Carolina, you don't really have any teams in this area. So it's kind of like the Braves and the Nationals are really the 2 closest teams. And my dad was a huge Braves fan growing up, so that obviously impacted who I liked. So I definitely say the Braves. Now, like I said, I liked Washington, but I think that's really just 2 of the closest teams to me. But you're obviously not going to be picky about it. You're not. Whoever drafts you. But the Braves would be awesome. The Braves would be absolutely absurd. So,
I mean, definitely definitely could see Washington up there on draft night.
Yeah.
There's a lot of teams that you could see there. I'm a Yankees fan, so I'm looking for Yankees to tank and pick you wherever they end.
Well, see, I really like the Yankees, but this kind of like I don't know, kind of like you were saying, they're typically not one of the worst teams in the league. So I was like, but you never know. Like I said, I'm not going to complain about who I get drafted by.
Yeah.
You're hear me complain about it. So
Hey, if I had any say in it, tank the rest of the season, sign Judge, and go for you. Yeah.
Well,
That's the first hypothetical. Now, the second hypothetical. All right, you have big game, and you're in the locker room with your teammates. I don't know. You guys listen to music, I'm assuming, hype you guys up before a little bit.
definitely. One of my buddies is definitely a big Lil Baby fan. Play some of that. Let's see. I'm a J. Cole guy. I like some J. Cole music. I don't know. It's really because it's music is one of those things. I won't normally get on aux. I'll normally just kind of be going through my routine, getting ready for the game, and one of my buddies will hop on it. But yeah, you always hear like some Lil Baby, some J. Cole. Oh my gosh, one of my buddies is in love like Playboy Cardi, and I'm like, stop. I don't know, but like you said, music's definitely one of those things. It really just depends on who's playing it because it varies so much. But you always hear some Lil Baby, of course. Drake. You know it. You're a high football player. You know all the guys, so it's just all over the place depending on who has aux. So
Yeah, I've heard so many different answers, and one of my favorites was Adele. I love. Someone said, yeah, Adele cleared their mind before game, which
I haven't heard that one before. So
yeah, I didn't either until then, and that was one of the best answers I've ever heard, honestly, to any question I've asked. I was
pretty
stunned. I was stunned, and then all right, big game, you guys win. They let you choose what restaurant you guys are going to as a team, restaurant, fast food, whatever it is. Where are you picking? Where is everyone going to eat?
That's hilarious, man. Because we have a Mexican restaurant down here that we go to almost after every single game. It's called San Felipe, and it's so weird because I live down here right by the beach and like got all these different seafood restaurants and all these different places. Mexican restaurant after every game. We always go in there. I get like 2 chicken and cheese quesadillas with some rice and get some chips and cheese dip, and I don't know, just mow it down. That's kind of like the go-to place after every game. So
Now I want Mexican. I'm gonna text my mom and ask her to bring me some on the way home. That's one of the best answers. For me, I'm a Mexican food fan. So
yeah.
Who isn't? But that's my favorite. I get a lot of IHOP. I get a lot of Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, it's hard. You can't go wrong with Chick-fil-A. But like I said, I live down here right by the beach, and we're like 45 minutes away from the closest Chick-fil-A. So
yeah, same. I think every time we won last year, my team would go to Chipotle. So
yeah. So once again, just can't go wrong with it.
Yeah. All right. So that's all I have for the interview. And I'll definitely have you back on for sure. Definitely got to talk once the draft gets closer, maybe once it's over, see what's going on. We'll definitely touch base again. Thank you so much for coming on.